Oh.
It's campaign and conquest. Let's play TTRPGs done right. War games and gaming with Storm and Magenta tonight. We got a new system best you'll ever see. A paracosmic convergence of this masterpiece. It's got the hit shots of plays every genre so well that you would think it was crafted in the depths of hell. It's campaigns and conquests, the best that there is. War games and gaming with a system that wins. Whether you're a pro or a fighting kid, we've got something better, it's really the shit. Custom worlds, random tables galore, got all the backcomes and so much more. It's campaigns and conquests, the only true way. War games and gaming, all night and all day. It's campaigns and conquests, better subscribe to the show. War games and gaming, and now you know. It's campaigns and conquests, and we're feeling alright. War games and gaming, we're Storm and Magenta tonight.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Campaigns and Conquest. Glad to have you guys joining us tonight. We're going to have a pretty interesting show tonight, a little bit different than our usual fare, but hopefully you will find it enjoyable. And my name is, of course, Magenta. I'll be your co-host. And Storm is going to be joining us as host again, as usual. Say hi, Storm.
Hello, folks. How's it going?
Hope everyone's doing well out there. And tonight we're going to be doing a interesting show. So we're going to be talking about what would you do if you had an unlimited budget and could do anything for a gaming resort or facility or whatever you want to call it. What would you do if you just had unlimited money to work with? Just to get some ideas out there. I've got some ideas, of course, and I'm sure Storm does too, but just thought it would be an interesting topic to talk about. If you could just, have an unlimited budget to work with, what would you create?
Mm-hmm. Me?
Yes. Absolutely. Yes, you. We'll start with you, but anyone who is listening right now, if you want to request to come up on the mic or type something in the chat, please feel free to do so. And comments are always welcome. And if you would like to speak up and be heard, just let us know in the chat. We'll bring you up on the microphone or video if you're comfortable with that. Your choice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, Storm, if you did have an unlimited budget and you could do anything you wanted to create the perfect gaming experience, what would you do?
Well, I have to keep this family friendly, so but
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, then I don't think I want to know your answer. Okay, give us the PG version.
Well, I had a friend in the past that we had done this sort of thing. We got it into our less than rational heads that we were going to be able to get a business loan for something like this, and but not reality. But what we had seen. Let me put it this way. What we were doing at the time was there was I don't know how old people are, if you remember laser tag.
Oh, yeah. Laser tag still exists,
Oh, does it?
Not as big as maybe it once was, but it does definitely still exist. Yeah.
Okay. Well, and laser tag wasn't there was Photon, and there was a couple of other knockoffs that tried to. Well, anyway, we got one of the knockoff versions, and we had somebody that was I don't know if science is the right engineer or whatever, had found a way to increase the range of these things by changing diodes or whatever, some sort of electronic engineer. So we had these weapons that were, well, they're not weapons, they were toys, but they were um,
A
they were
system
pretty
for
good.
laser tag.
It was basically was laser tag. It was a knockoff version of laser tag. It
Okay.
wasn't. It didn't have the laser tag name, but it was the same concept of a gun that shoots lasers that is picked up by a receptor. Anyway, point is that so what we were doing is we were having trying to make a business out of it, a little, well, not like a business, but just a little side hustle where what we would do is we would like bachelor parties and stuff like that. They wanted to play paintball, but didn't want to play paint. Like, well, paintball's cool, but that shit hurts, that kind of thing.
Right.
So we would do that sort of deal. And the reason that I'm tying this in with your question is the intent is to make kind of a fantasy camp out of it. So what you were doing is you were showing up with your boys, your pals, your gals, your chicks, your buddies, your mix of both. If you want whatever your team, and your team was to take on our team. We were kind of the host enemy. If everybody, again, I know all my references are archaic and probably don't work, but if you ever watch the Harlem Globetrotters, they always played the same team.
Right.
Forget what they were. They were like the Seattle something Rockets, or I don't know. There was always this one team that they're always playing, and we were kind of that. So the idea was to bring that to tabletop gaming, miniatures gaming, outdoor types of things, stuff like that. We had all sorts of ideas. One was one of the things that was coming up with again with laser tag was there was laser tag for tanks. These were 1/16, which is very big. If you're don't know scales, it's like Barbie size. Old scale GI Joe was like 1/16, really big. And they mounted a laser system on it that would register hits. And
there are RC tanks now that can do that.
Yeah, this came out with Tamiya at the time. It was a brand new deal, and we wanted to to have where you'd have 4-on-4 type of battles. We wanted some land somewhere where we could host this sort of thing, and there'd be enough room to really get into it. And our idea was just to make an outdoor wargaming table. We had a guy who was a very good artist. We had a guy who was a very good carpenter. And we wanted to utilize both those gentlemen's skill, and they would make basically dollhouse size terrain. If you look at a tabletop game, it's got little tiny houses or buildings and stuff like that. And we planned just to make those on a larger level and put them outside.
Mounted with little mini cameras. I mean, you could actually do something like that now.
Exactly. Yeah, right.
And that would be totally, you could log into your tank and you could go and do like a something like that. You would just need someone with the land to do it and the bandwidth to host something like that. Some really good tech to make sure your bandwidth was capable of handling all of the logins remotely. And obviously you need someone on site to kind of, because if a tank flipped over, I suppose you could just say, well, hey, if you flip your tank over,
you're out of the game. That's it.
You're out of the game.
Right.
But
and it's they'd be rentals. You wouldn't, I mean, there'd be, you'd rent the equipment and stuff like that. So, and then we do that with tabletop and stuff like that. And everything would be very thematic. And when we use the word thematic, what we mean is if you're going into the tank thing, you're going into, not super hardcore, but a brief thematic version of training for a couple of reasons. First of all, we want to make sure you don't wreck our shit.
Right.
Those things cost a lot of money, and we want to make sure you know how to use them and all of that stuff. So, if you just go, hey, hand this thing to me, and we charge you for that, you're going to, well, I didn't even know what the hell I was doing. So we want to make sure you know what you're doing. And then you go out and fight. And we do that with a guy who's set up to look like an instructor, and he's going to do instructor things and stuff like that. And the first thing that you have to sign a release for is we're not going to insult your parentage, but it's a joke. It's It's supposed to be Hollywood. So that drill sergeant's going to sound a little bit like a Hollywood drill sergeant. And he's going to, he's going to bark on you and stuff
You'll
like
be
that.
razzed. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to get razzed. And,
There's a little hazing kind of
yeah, not
naughty language.
yeah, a little bit of that kind of stuff. Nothing ridiculous, just to get you but everybody's got to understand we don't want some fisticuffs because somehow you were insulted because the character got into you. But that was the idea. And we do that for tabletop training, for and that's the wargaming side, but the RPG be the same thing, where you just and a lot of people are doing that sort of deal. I see it around from time to time, where it's more than just sitting down at a table somewhere and playing the game. You walk into this place and it's got like ancient iron candle holders, and it looks like a dungeon when you walk into it, and the DM's got like a soundboard and music,
kind of a LARPing type experience in that yeah, where everybody is in costume, in character. Ren Fair meets RPG.
Yeah, that kind of deal, a little bit, just and we wanted to have. We talked a little bit about this last show, so if you're watching again, I hope you don't get bored with the repetition. But we had an idea of making a circular facility that when you walked around that circle, each would be little sections of pie, like type of thing, would be all separated. And one section would be, all the World War II stuff. And it would have World War II material to like toy soldiers and World War II games and stuff like that. It would have a little bit of a ambiance in the background. You'd hear, gunfire and, some battle.
What comes to mind right now for me is a hologram, especially Deep Space Nine. I think was the one. It was Voyager with the Hirosian. With the Hirosian took over the ship and
they ran a bunch of battle simulations.
Yes, right. They ran all the battle simulations, and they did a bunch of different ones, but they had a World War II specific one, and yeah,
right.
That's what it's reminding me of right now.
we'd have and of course with a blank check you could hire as many people as you want, so there would be an attendant in each section, and they would have LARP uniform or costume that would play into, so there'd be some MP or something like that, probably look like a World War II MP, and they would just make sure no one's ripping you off, because unfortunately retail theft is a sad reality. So, but just kind of, hey, I'm looking for this, and they'd be the floor help, but they would, they'd come at you with a little bit of theme. If it was 1920s gangster, yeah, see, we can hook you up with the stuff, see, something like that, whatever it was.
All right, Bugsy.
yeah, right. And just do it for every section, and you just walk around, and each section there would be a threshold that would look like we'd have it all done up like a porthole. So every time you went to a new section, it was like you were moving into a different dimension or a different realm through this porthole. Just a little gimmick for decoration. Right. But that was the idea. And then in the middle, there would be a large kind of, it wouldn't be remote control, but it would be large scale miniature warfare, or maybe large scale encounters for a D&D if you really wanted to get into the miniatures part of D&D or whatever role-playing game you're doing, stuff like that. And it would just be, there'd be stuff all around it. We wanted enough land where we could run several things outdoors, including what we called full scale, which was either laser tag or paintball or something like that.
Sounds exciting, but this is something that, because when you're describing this would be the kind of place that I wouldn't want to just like waltz through and just, pick up a few sets of dice or the latest copy of my favorite game. It sounds more like something that you would want to have a full on experience,
Right.
It
was as much a theme park as it was as a retail store. That was the point. Exactly.
Well, I would love to see it as like a full-fledged resort, like a timeshare resort type of thing. And the reason I mentioned timeshare, I know timeshare gets a bad rap, and deservedly so in some cases. But the one thing that it does have going for it, and this is something because I have a little experience with it growing up in a place where it was prevalent right on the coast, and it was a big thing. Um, you would find that people would come repeatedly every year, right? 1 week a year. They'd come back and they'd make friends with the people that they stayed there with before. So you had people who got to know each other, they'd form bridge clubs and have a, regular practice of, we go out with our neighbors in the next unit next door. Um, oh, uh-oh. It looks like Storm's video went away. You okay there, Storm? I don't know if he can still
Yes.
hear or if he has. We did. I do need to disclose to anyone listening right now. Storm had a little bit of technical difficulty earlier in the day, and has had to replace some equipment for his internet connection. So I hope that's not causing some problems right now. But if it is, I'm sure he's going to be able to get it resolved. And come back with us pretty soon. But to continue on, because it does look like there's a few folks here listening. I don't want to stop the show. We'll give him a chance to come back and get everything back up and running. But anyway, you're good. Okay. Okay. Looks like he's good. So yeah, whatever it is going on with the camera and the mic, well, there you go. Okay. Glad to have you back, Storm. But what I was saying is people would get to know, they'd make friends, they'd form core groups, they'd go out every year for a yearly dinner to their favorite restaurants or, made lifelong friends out of it. So that's one thing that is kind of nice about timeshares. But whether it's that or some other type of resort, I would love to see a gaming themed resort. That's always been something I thought would be really cool to have, something that had multiple stories, kind of like an old, hotel with, themes built into it. And you could have, each floor could have its own theme. You could have everything from high tech kind of, virtual reality type of games that people play, or augmented reality, whatever you want, paintball on one floor or laser tag on another, World War II theme on one floor for people who like to play those types of games, and then some outdoor space for things like you're talking about, the big tank battles and things like that. Maybe even like an arena kind of thing with where spectators can watch or participate as well. So I would
I,
love to see that kind of stuff.
I was never convinced. Now I had that too. The guy that was planning with me says, "Yeah, you got to put bleachers out there." And I thought, it's never been a spectator sport. I really don't see many people being enthralled with observing a tabletop. It's one thing to watch sports because it's quick paced, but even fast paced board gaming, I just don't see it. Video gaming, that's a different deal. And I didn't think video gaming would ever be that either. But there was a store. It wasn't really a theme park, but it was a well,
hey, gaming is a sport
yeah,
now.
esports became a
Yeah.
thing, and people came to
Yeah.
this place and they sat in bleachers and they watched. Well, that's a hell of a beep. And they
Sorry.
was that me or you?
No, that was me.
Just making sure I got all this new gear. I want, but anyway, yeah, they had bleachers around monitors, and people were watching them play Smash Bros. And this guy who was, the friend of mine that was talking about doing all this, his kid ended up being like top 15 in the state of Wisconsin for Smash Brothers, which I've never even seen. I don't even know what it is. All I know is that he was playing it. It's a video game of some sort, and he's like top 15 in the state. And he would go to,
it's a big thing. But
yeah.
Other countries more so than the US, and I'm not sure why that is, except that maybe it's just a little more spread out here. I mean, we have larger territory. Maybe that's why. I don't know exactly.
Now we were talking about this stuff. I mean, as always, old guy and long time ago in a galaxy far away. We were talking about this before esports was really. I mean, there were some people were saying that phrase at the very end of when we were having these discussions. But when we first started talking about this stuff, it was, you know, it was different. 40K was, for the geeks out there, I think 40K was still in second edition when we were having these conversations. So that's how long ago it was. But so some of that technology wasn't around. But at the time, there were still LAN places where you'd go and pay to rent time on a machine to play networked. Those were around for a while. They never did it, and that was one of the reasons when we brought this to people. It's fun to speculate. It's fun to imagine and dream, and it certainly would be joy. Unfortunately, bankers and those kind of guys go, well, let me tell you, son, and then they'd explain why that sounds good on paper or in your nerdy imaginative mind, but it's never going to, fund itself as a functional hobby for A, B, and C reasons. One of the, I hate to be a party pooper because it was a lot of fun. It'd still be great to do, but we got that kind of jive, and the LAN stuff started to fade away, so we knew we weren't really going anywhere. Now,
for the LAN stuff, that kind of makes sense to me because, so first of all, computer pricing came down. It's easier for people to connect. Internet speeds have, more infrastructure's developed. There's Wi-Fi everywhere. Even gaming on your phone has become a thing. So it's not as necessary. I think it was more of a thing for people when they didn't have access, like somebody who wanted to game but couldn't get good internet connection where they were at locally, or didn't have really good equipment at home to game on, that kind of thing. But at the same time, it was always kind of expensive at those places, more so than like
it's expensive now.
Yeah, unreasonably so, I would think. By my estimation, I don't know. Maybe I'm just cheap, but
no, it
seems to be. If you got to pay per minute for a connection to a computer, that adds fast. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's neat to think about all that. I was going to say Atari for a while was talking about making hotels. That never happened, and I don't think it will. But they had discussed opening hotels in Chicago, Las Vegas, and a couple of other major cities, and they would be Atari themed mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, never happened though.
Well, the reason I think it could still be something. I mean, maybe not. Some of the things we're talking about are just like, I mean, if you just had what you've referred to in the past as FU money, where you could just set it on fire if you want to and it wouldn't affect you, that level of money to work with. I think it would be cool to do something like that because to some extent, the gaming that we all like to do it's kind of hard to fit into your regular life for some people, and they want to have the experience of playing with others, rather than having, the screen separating you. I mean, obviously you and I are meeting virtually in virtual space, and everyone here is engaging that way. So it's a way that we can do that. And if, COVID taught us anything, it's that even if we can't meet face to face, we can still stay connected through our modern technology. But it also taught us that it's not exactly the same.
Well, there's a
difference between. Well, I mean, I'm not putting one or the other down, but there is a difference between in-person experiences and being virtual. And I think there's a place for both.
I don't see that. Here's the thing. There's all these, like, I'm the one old guy that says I want to play old stuff, but doesn't romanticize this. Well, we used to sit at a table and we didn't use computers. First of all, the minute computers showed up, we couldn't get on them
fast enough. I know.
and they were used as an assistant to tabletop since day one, since prior to the proliferation of personal computers that sat on your desk. You should see some of the contraptions that were made in the 70s, mid 70s, that were electronic and not really a PC computer, but were meant to facilitate gaming. And everybody wanted to use those sort of things. But here's the thing. There's nothing about that table that has any benefit over doing it online. And people are going to have to get to the point where they understand that, again, here's the thing. I lived, what would it be, 25 miles or whatever from the nearest game store for a while. But 25 miles doesn't tell the whole story. 25 miles through a major metropolitan area with one of the worst traffic systems ever devised by human beings. It was
I don't know. LA
all the way around.
I think, and Atlanta had the worst ever.
So 25 miles was a hard 25 miles to drive for all it. So, and I did this deal where, you got to play in person, because how else can you play? Because it was PCs weren't the thing at all then. I'm that old. And making that drive into the city and fighting all that traffic and spending the money, spending the time, having the appointment, all the crap that went into it. And then the session either sucked because somebody was an asshole, or that one time that I go, oh yeah, I'm going to meet these people. Do you know who they are? No, I don't, but I don't care. I really want to play that bad. Just drop me off at this place and we're going to play. Pick me up in about 3 hours. And I was the only one that showed up.
Oh boy.
And I didn't drive because I was young and I didn't have anything but, and even the guy he goes, hey man, are you going to buy anything? You can't just hang out in my store for 3 hours doing nothing. And I'm trying to think, well, what the hell do I do? There's no cell phones or anything like that. So people are just, look, you've got a 4K camera. There's nothing you can't see on this. There's shit going on this face I don't want you to see. And if it was a 640 by 480 old camera, you wouldn't see it. Now you see it all. There's nothing you don't get out of playing online. And because everybody's so dispersed, and always was, they're like yourself. I wanted to play, but there was nobody around that could or would. And driving to a place where there wasn't possible.
Oh heck, I was so remote I couldn't even get internet back then though too. So I really had no choice.
So there's all that stuff.
You're saying.
Yeah. And so these people that keep driving on it's so much better when you meet in person. Is it really though? Is it really?
Well, here's the thing. I am of the opinion, and I'm going to make everybody angry with me right now, but because I am straddling the middle. If you're on one side of the seesaw and someone's on the other side, I am exactly in the middle. I can see a role for both. For me, the idea of having if I want to go on a vacation, and this might just be me, but if I want to go on a vacation, I want to escape my real life. You know what I mean? I want to go someplace where I can just have full immersion in the environment, the people, other people there who are there for the same reason, and just have a, like you described, the convention experience back when that was a big thing. Is it something you're going to do every single day? No, probably not. I mean, it wouldn't be reasonable to do it every single day, but 1 week a year, hell yeah. Why not? That would be a lot of fun. And to have a chance where, I mean, even something as simple, and I'm going to really sound totally geeky and nerdy and not even in my own age group either. But the Harry Potter movies, I don't remember which one it was that was being released. We went to see the premiere of it. We went on opening night and they had butterbeer. It was an actual alcoholic beverage that is being served, and I got one and it was delicious. I'm so sorry. Are you having trouble speaking, or am I too loud?
No, I was just saying it. Well, I had it too, and I did. It was gross.
Oh, well, you just have no taste, but I'm kidding. You don't, it's not that. But anyway, I thought it was delicious because it was like a butterscotch kind of drink. I like that kind of thing. I know you're not a fan of butterscotch, but anyway, I thought it was awesome. but it was mainly the immersion of being, there were people who were wearing the costumes, kind of same thing you run into with the Star Wars movie premieres and different things like that. If it's a big social phenomenon like that, people really get into it. And I think that's a lot of fun. And now obviously your day-to-day experience with gaming, with role playing, with all of this stuff is probably going to be different. Doing the online game is probably, virtual tabletops and things like that is going to still be alive and well. But every once in a while, it would be really cool if there was a place that you could go to that was a themed resort getaway that had everything a gamer could dream of, whether you're
Well,
into, whatever kind of gaming you're into.
yeah, well, that's the convention. I
Yeah.
mean, and that's it. Like I say, that's a different deal than the drive to your local gaming store, because somehow in person there's, for
Right.
some bizarre reason, computers invalidate the experience, which is just kind of a silly, weird thing. It's one thing if you're sitting around with a bunch of people that you've known for a very long time or all your life, and they've been a regular gaming club for a long time, and you go, well, we really couldn't do this. This is all about being in person. I totally understand that, because you're all friends and stuff. It's the hey, how do you put this? It was the pickup game where you didn't know everybody, but the only way to play was to meet them by meeting in some local game store and playing. Everything about that could go wrong. It was inconvenient. It was expensive. It was time consuming. It could, maybe they were jerks. That whole thing that people romanticize as being a good thing, nothing about it was good. It was just the only way you could do it. But yeah, if you're sitting at if you're in some resort or something, it doesn't mean you can't meet an asshole at a resort. Not everybody on the Love Boat was a nice guy, but that can happen too, of course. But in general, everybody's there, as you say, for the spirit. And I get what you're saying with the Harry Potter. I just didn't like the drink. But when they make it a whole big thing, that's fun. And the whole idea of an
immersive event. Yeah.
Right. And but the thing is that even if you make that, you are only catering to a small portion of people that are going to do something like that. And if you have something like what I'm talking about, or was talking about last time, was the virtual version of that, where you have something going on all the time online. Now it's accessible to everybody, because no matter where you're at financially, and I'm sure there's exceptions. Please don't write me letters, Jesus Christ! But most people are on the internet, so they could attend something. I know I'm going to get somebody going, you don't understand how poor. I'm just saying, the majority of people are listening to us through the internet because we're on it. And I think that having something on the internet that's free to access, that has that carnival convention atmosphere, that's a long running game where people can go from, I don't like these pickup. We had a pickup game, me and Magenta, with a couple of people, and they were kind of nice and they seemed like they like it. And then they're like, because I think maybe they weren't really into trying to, like they said themselves, it doesn't really gel. We're not really, not everybody's completely on the same page or getting, whatever. So, but that kind of drops away when you go to a convention. But if you have something online, it's affordable, it's convenient, and those relationships can develop over a period of time when you play it.
Right.
But buying a 10-story building isn't going to happen. You wish it was.
No,
not going to happen.
I think the point of this particular episode is to talk about the what if and wouldn't it be great if, not necessarily. I mean, obviously, I don't have the unlimited money that we're talking about here. This is when you buy the lottery ticket, you play that game, and everybody says you waste your money when you buy a lottery ticket. But what you're doing, you're buying that fantasy for whatever time period from when you bought the ticket to when the drawing's going to happen. You have that fantasy of, what if I won all those millions of dollars? What would I do? And that's what you're paying for. You're paying for that that sliver of realism for the fantasy to play out, that if you do that, what would it be like? So
I'm just trying to say that you can do that you can actually do what we're talking about when you discard the acres worth of land or stories worth of building.
Right.
I'm trying to play the Scully to the Mulder in that the idea of having a online constant kind of carnival convention thing would be great. Instead of going to the internet to look for that one gem of TTRPG discussion that isn't the same bitch fest that you could just,
Right.
and everybody can play any way they want. It's a viable thing.
Right.
So, but I think if you
Yeah,
talk,
and-
I
okay.
understand what you're trying to do with the fun and all that, but I
Yeah.
think what it does is it drowns out the idea that is actually can be done.
Okay.
And yeah.
Just to be clear, I wasn't trying to make a debate between full immersion or doing online. Like I said before, my position is I'm straddling the middle. I can see how both are absolutely necessary. Your bread and butter day to day, when you want to play a game, you're not going to be able to spend every week on vacation. But if you wanted to have a vacation that was gaming themed, I think it would be great if gamers had a place to go specifically for that. If you're into, whatever type of genre you're into, if there was a place that you could go and just experience full immersion gaming like that with your family and friends, and have that experience once a year, that would be really awesome. I would love it if someone would. I mean, I don't have the unlimited funds to do it, but it would be great if someone who did actually made something like that. I would totally book a week there and just have a great time. Especially if it had like all the cool stuff that went with it. Like, you want to go in and buy outfits to complement the games that you play, dress as your favorite character for those who like to LARP. That would be an option. If you wanted to, watch other people, see how they play in person, just to kind of lurk in the background and go, what are you guys up to? Oh, that looks interesting. I never thought of doing something that way. Just, an experience of camaraderie with everybody who likes the same kinds of things that you do, just once a week, when you don't have to fit it in between work and getting the kids off to school and making dinner and all the other things that are real life. You can have a vacation from work and from reality all at the same time. I think it would be cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So that's my sales pitch. Now all I need is money.
Yeah.
That part's not going to happen. Unless somebody wants to go fund me for a big, huge, multi-million-dollar resort. I would totally accept it.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is all about dreaming.
Kickstarter.
Yeah. Kickstarter is a cool thing, but I don't know if it could handle something as large as what I was thinking of. So, but I suppose we can come back to reality if you want, and we can talk about what's really realistic. And you can have all those things, like you said, you can do it all online, and have places where people can get together. And that's kind of what this show is all about too. Anyone who's listening now, if you are enjoying the content and you want to see this grow as a place where we can all get together and have a virtual version of that, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe, so that we can make this the kind of place that can do that, at least virtually, if not in real life, in a real
we can do it now. We just need warm bodies.
warm bodies. Exactly. Yeah.
Which means we got all the stuff set up for it. I got all the different places to go, all the different ways to play, all the things set up, all that sort of stuff. Just need people to walk through the door and say, hey, I want to play.
Right. Absolutely. And
hopefully you say, hey, I want to play Star Wars.
Right. Okay. Speaking of Star Wars, this is look at that grin. So we had talked about this in our last episode too. the domain play with Star Wars. We have been doing that, and I wanted it to be kind of like a regular feature on the show. So that's something that, I think we can go ahead and do if you want to. I have a character who is made for this, so that we're going to be able to play this, and you're going to give me kind of the rundown in the scenario where we're at, and then we'll
I understand
go
trying
ahead.
to stay framed in the shot is really like etiquette in YouTube and streaming, folks. So sorry about but dude, the back thing. It's one of these deals. If you're new, I was just like to drop this. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm moving around like I'm Joe Cocker or something like that, playing a song, and it's just I can't. I'm working on it, but it hurts, and it's one of those back problems that's sitting in the same space or spot or position.
Yeah,
Relief comes from mobility.
yeah,
Sorry,
that's
I know
okay.
it's like this, it's like a little, but anyway, sorry.
Okay, well, so with that distraction out of the way right now, sorry about that, folks, if you're distracted by the regular movements over there. But anyway, so my character that I have is, we're going to be doing a commando raid. Okay, well, that was a little hint there.
Actually, I hit
Um,
the wrong button, but close enough.
so my character's name is Kadi Kinvale, and I am. Oh, that's nice. I like that image there with the dragons flying
We're
around.
all we're all about subtlety.
Yes. And our spelling can't be beat. But anyway, so
Is there a
if you want
spelling
to go
issue?
ahead and introduce what we're doing with the
Oops.
I'm going to let you introduce where we are with the Star Wars stuff here.
Is there something spelled wrong on that poster I
Yeah,
just put up?
there's an extra I in conquest. It's conquests. So,
Well, it's AI.
yeah,
So
AI can't spell.
full
I know.
disclosure. Full
Yes.
disclosure. It's not me. This time. Um yeah, I know like I love Star Wars. Most of I don't know where people come from that follow and listen. I'm glad you come wherever it is. It may not be Twitter. On Twitter, there seems to be I don't like Star Wars anymore or sci-fi anymore. That really bums me out because I love sci-fi stuff and I love Star Wars. So, um,
Don't worry, your tribe still exists.
yeah, but I like olds, just like everything else. I like it old, and uh, you know, uh, I like West End games. I'm not playing the new stuff. I don't want to pay for or play with the new stuff. I like old stuff, not just because I'm some fuddy duddy that I'm not. It's not a Burger Meister burger thing. I know it.
Oh,
I
that
understand it.
reference is too old for a lot of people already. So,
Oh well, the Grinch or whatever. But it's just I already know it. I've already committed it to memory. I don't have to learn more stuff. I don't have to buy more stuff, and I don't have to find a place to put more stuff on a shelf.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, what I did was I some years ago, several, not a lot, but several, 3, 4, 5, something like that. More like 4 or 5. I says, this is never going to happen. One of the things that really interested me about Star Wars was a backstory, not the one we got, but the one I thought we were going to get. And when you went to see the original Star Wars, as I did, it had the crawl, and the crawl just was the crawl. And then you went to see the re-release of it some years later, and the re-release had Chapter 4. And of course, at that time, I said, "Hey, what about 1, 2, and 3? I like this story. I want to see it all. I don't want to start in the middle of it. Who the hell starts in the middle of a story? Boo." And so I wanted to learn as much as I could about the previous chapters. And we got the prequels, And everybody goes, see, you got what you wanted. You got the first 3 chapters. Not really. I mean, so I don't hate them as much, but I don't, they weren't my
They
favorite thing.
didn't live up to what your imagination had filled in already. I get
What-
that. For a
Well,
lot of people, that was the thing.
there was lore prior. There
Mhm.
was things prior. There was a lot done prior. There was a first draft of the movie that was, this thing didn't start. It was released in 77, but it didn't start in 77. It started a lot farther back than that. And there was almost a complete movie done in the early 70s, 73, 74, that didn't, for a lot of reasons, didn't pan out to be that great. And it was reshot and then released in 77. But the original parts of the original storyline have been, just like everything else, since Disney's bought it. And Lucas did this too, to be somewhat fair, but there was this peeling something out of its original context and grafting it into something new, or playing, with it, manipulating it. But there was a previous backstory. Anyway, long story short was, I wanted to know about that backstory. So I did as much as I could in reading it. What?
I just was reading Michael's comment. He knows who the Burgermeister Burger is, that toy banning a-hole.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. But I really did want to see the backstory. And the backstory that I was wanting to see came from West End Games. Those guys got access to the original stuff. Very few of the other franchise or license buyers got this. They were one of the rarities that got this very open access. So West End Games isn't just, it's good because it's old. It's good because it's tapped right from the source.
Right.
And so what I did is I wrote and when people say wrote, oh, he's one of those guys. He's going to tell a story. He's one of these amateur novelists. He's not one of these gamer types that no, not like that. But when I wrote it out, I wanted to make sure that it stayed relatively true to West End Games as far as and the original lore. What I did was I had it took me a long time. It took me a lot of years. There was a guy, the same guy that was planning all the old gaming facilities out. He goes, I know how you feel. I know you're a fanatic. I know you won't listen to anything Disney, but I'm telling you, you really should see Rogue One. It's not the same. You really should go see Rogue One. No, but finally, after years, I melted down enough to watch that, and I wasn't all that happy with it. But it did have portions that I saw, some scenes, some views, some sets where I go, that's what it was supposed to be. How come the whole movie isn't that? And the same thing with Solo. There were parts where it's like, that's what I was looking for. So anything that I felt, even by happenstance, came out of Disney that looked like it came out of Lucas's original vision, I'll take that.
Yeah,
no problem. But and I put it in there. But other than that, I tried to keep it to West End Games. So the story is.
Oh, so let's get to the story then. So the
shut the up, oh man! You talk too much, and you want to hear about all your old stuff. Okay, gotcha. Fair enough.
Wasn't trying to say it like that, but yeah, I am anxious to, because I know we had started playing this a little bit, and I was enjoying it, and I wanted to make sure that we kind of include it as a regular thing. So, basically, we're going to be doing domain play. So this is kind of
I really, yeah. I mean, that's not inaccurate, but I think I want to open it up to, or kind of repackage or rebrand it as a kind of almost living campaign type of thing. I want the stuff we were talking about previously, where I got into, hey, we could have convention online, we could have a full-time thing online, all that sort of stuff that I want to see online. I think that, that this could be proof of concept, in that you could have all sorts of different play styles in this thing, and it just be a living world, a living
Okay.
campaign. But yes, but right now what you're going to see is a little bit of the kind of thing that a lot of people like to use, domain play. You might have also heard the word Braunstein. I don't want to.
Okay. Yeah.
Ugh.
Let's
But
not
you might.
sidetrack into the debate about those terminologies.
But
So,
in order to invoke in people's mind what's about to be portrayed, that term has to be invoked, even though I don't want to get any further
okay.
into it than that. So it's written in 3 BBY. For those who are not hardcore fans and don't know what BBY means, it's simply a way of gauging time across all the different material written that now stems back in some cases to 25,000 years in the
Well, I
past.
know this one. I know this one. It's before the Battle of Yavin.
Very good, Hermione. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And mhm. But
Sorry.
that's what it
I
means.
just had
It
to.
just,
I
yeah,
finally know an acronym. I just had to indulge
fair enough.
myself.
Fair
Yes.
enough. So basically what it does is it just puts time is that the center is the original movie, which culminated in the Battle of Yavin, which is the destruction of the first Death Star. Anything that happened before that is BBY. Anything that happened after that is ABY after Battle of Yavin. Just a timeline thing. So I went with 3 BBY, and you want me to get into it and shut up? Okay, we'll do it. On
Yeah.
Mantween, so basically what's happened, I have to there does have to be some preface to the preface, and that is that 3 BBY puts you about 15 to 18 years after the events of episode 3, the movie, Revenge of the Sith. The Emperor has taken control. It has become the Empire. It is still at this point one of the things that a lot of people don't hook up with or understand, that in the deep lore, just because it seemed like the war wasn't totally over between the Confederacy and the Republic at the end of the third movie. It was effectively done as far as a threat to the galaxy and all that, but there was major portions of that entity, the Confederacy, that maintained resistance, and some of those forces were considerable. You were talking about thousands of planets and millions of people, and all this industrial might that constructed this major war machine, and it didn't all just evaporate because they killed some people on the ship in the storyline. So the Empire spent a lot of time claiming planets that were not part of the Republic, but they wanted for the Empire, that had some sort of resistance, that were still technically under the influence of what was left of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. So, and then we lead to this. On Mantween, anti-imperial insurgents launch a daring uprising against pro-imperial government. In a bold assault, resistance fighters overrun an imperial modular base, using sabotage, precise strikes, and overwhelming local support to breach the base's defenses. This is one of the first
Good for
acts.
them.
Yes, it's one of the first acts of rebellion against the Empire outside of the war against what they call the remnant, the term that they often use was Confederate holdouts. All right. Inside the base, resistance leaders seize control of the facility's communications hub, broadcasting a powerful message across the planet. Their impassioned calls to arms urges the Mantween population to rise against the Empire's tyranny, igniting a wave of rebellion in nearby settlements. Civilians rally to the cause, forming impromptu militias and attacking Imperial supply lines. In response, the Imperial Command deploys the Star Destroyer Relentless and the Star Destroyer Triumphant to reinforce the beleaguered garrison. The Star Destroyers arrive in Mantween's orbit, launching TIE fighter patrols and landing additional stormtroopers to quell the growing rebellion. Despite the Empire's show of force, the resistance gains momentum, fueled by the courage of its leaders, and the determination of the Mantuese people to fight for freedom. So that's kind of a portion of the beginning and what's going on. There's several other planets in our story that, well, again, I say story, that tends to make people snarl in some realms, but nonetheless, there's a handful of incidences that lead to the Empire going, oh, they're just some rabble that fought back, and start raising their eyebrows to, there seems to be some sort of coordinated effort to really fight back. So we had Magenta, your character's name.
Kadi is her first name, and Kinvale is her last name.
So she's playing the Minister of War for the exiled government that is led by Senator Mon Mothma, and so she's making the majority of military decisions when that comes up in the game. So basically, running the war effort is essentially what she ends up doing. This particular character.
Yes.
So what you have is, now just going to drop out of the storyline, explain how we do this. There is a galactic map. I can put that up as a post somewhere. If I put that up as a post here, it's a gigantic thing. It's a monstrous file that won't display properly. You know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying, right, Magenta? This thing is a giant PNG. So it's a little bit difficult to display here, but I can put up a smaller thumbnail of it in other places and stuff like that. But it's a galactic map. It has the majority of all planets in the West End Games universe, which is a real lot. And you can theoretically, you can do whatever you want. You can go wherever you want. We want to have role playing. We have had role playing in the past using this campaign. It sounds like you want to break in. You got something you want to add, Magenta?
Well, no, I mean, just that if you wanted to just have it displayed, anyone who really wanted to see that can go to the Discord, right? If you want to give out that information for how to reach us there, and you could have that set up, or you can, of course, email me at any time if anyone would like to, get access to the file to respond. Because what I was hoping we would do with this is, Storm's going to go through like kind of the basics and where we're at now, and then there's going to be along the way there's different decision points that we're going to run into where obviously there's a starting point for the story. So, that's what we're talking about right now. And then when it gets to a point where as a player, I have to make a decision about what the next course of action is. We're going to stop it at that point, and then next week come back with my decision. But in the meantime, between now and Monday, when we have our next show, anyone who wants to participate as well and play along, you can send emails to me. My email address is campainsandconquest.magenta@gmail.com. So if you want to send something that way, as far as an answer or what you think would be a good course of action, you can do that, or leave a comment in the on the YouTube replies there, and we'll have that for the next show that we can go over those and highlight what.
Yeah. So apparently I've been too chatty and I've run people off. So if you want to play, we can get you involved and give you a briefing in there. But I guess I've kind of gone too far with it tonight. I get enthusiastic about this, but so.
Oh,
much
I'm
stuff.
sorry. I can't see what you see, so I don't know how many folks are viewing right now, but obviously this is
They're
going to be.
leaving, so
Oh,
getting them,
well, okay.
boring them, I guess.
All right. Well, again, if you want to, finish out what you were talking about and set the stage for the scenario, and then we'll take it from there. So we're coming up at about the hour-long mark here. If you want to go ahead and just set the stage, get us to the decision point, and then we'll go from there.
Uh, well, there's nothing to do tonight with that. I
Oh,
thought I'd introduce people into it, but
I
um,
see. Okay. I'm sorry. That's my
we got to.
mistake because
Yeah. Well, so what we have to do is find a way to either start earlier or be done in an hour, because as soon as 8 o'clock shows up, people just leave. So
well, an hour is a good show time, and I think we had a lot of uh, good discussion going on. I hope people were satisfied with it and enjoyed what they were hearing. And with that being said, then I think we can maybe do a short that we'll release, so that people can see. We'll
I'd like
just
to see it. Well, I'd like to see if. Oh, they're all gone. That's okay.
okay. All right. Well, let's just end here tonight, and we will put out a short with just the information for the Star Wars, and then we'll go from there. So, anyone who is still listening, or if you're watching this on the channel, not live, the recorded version, thank you again for your time, and I hope to see you again next week. We do these every week. Mondays and Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Central Time. So please tune in at that time if you like. And we look forward to seeing you again. And until then, happy gaming.